name's Terry Hans, and welcome to, well, what's kind of a return series, but in a better format. We're returning what was initially called Retro Film Weird Rewind, and is now just movie reviews in general. So today, we're going to be looking at Inglourious Basterds from Quentin Tarantino. Now, this is honestly one of my favorite films. I consider it to be one of, if not Tarantino's magnum opus. Of course, he now considers it to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I don't get at all. Not saying it's a bad movie, but Inglourious Basterds it's better than it by leagues. But, yeah, film stars Brad Pitt, Christoph, Waltz, Eli Roth, and a bunch of other actors. Samuel L. Jackson does voiceovers for the film. There's just so many recognizable faces. It's like every Tarantino film. There's always that, kind of set of actors that are always in at least every other one, if not all of them. And then a list of new faces. So, really good movie. But, yeah, let's kind of review it. So, Inglourious Basterds from 2009. So, first off, the film was originally supposed to be called Once Upon a Time in a Nazi-occupied France, but for one, he scrapped that and saved it for the name of the first chapter of the film. And secondly, a bunch of people have stated that it could have been inspiration for the name Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I've never really seen a definitive answer online, so take that with a grain of salt. But the film itself is really fucking good. It paces nicely. It's slow, but at the same time, though, there's enough going on that you don't really lose track of it. You don't really, what's the word? You don't want to turn your head away. You don't get bored. Which, Hateful Eight, which will be reviewed at some point, it's a good movie, but there's not enough going on for you to want to keep focused on it. The Hateful Eight, really good movie, great acting, but, there's not enough going on at all times for you to really want to stay focused to it. And that's saying something, because I'm a sucker for slow films. But, anyways, back to the film topic, Inglourious Basterds. It's a really good movie. Follows Aldo, Raine, and a group of Jewish-American soldiers that are sent to France, where the Nazis are currently occupied. They are dressing like French civilians in order to blend in. And their whole goal is to stop the war before things get even worse than the Nazis have already made it. And by all means, World War II films and war films in general, I feel like are kind of an overdone concept. By all means, there's a bunch of really good ones, but I think we can all agree that the concept of a war film is something that's not entirely new. However, what Inglourious Basterds does is, for one, it makes it extremely accurate. Specifically around the costumings, because a lot of movies tend to, when it comes to World War II, they show every single Nazi officer with a swastika armband, when back then, a lot of them, that was only really a high-ranking official that wore them, and a lot of times they didn't really wear that unless it was like some sort of large event. But this film gets that and plenty of other things actually extremely accurate to the time period, which is very well. But of course there are a bunch of things that Quentin Tarantino takes into royalty, since he always tries to tinker with things a bit, which is really good. I like that, because not everything has to be 100% accurate for it to be a good film representing an era. Take Django Unchained for a second. Sunglasses weren't really widely available until 1912, but that takes place in the 1800s, but still really good. But Inglourious Basterds has probably some of the best acting I've seen really in a long time. It has one of probably the best openings of the last decade. The first opening of Inglourious Basterds it's great. Opens with I believe the film opening was inspired by The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You see, the intro is very similar. There are very big comparisons. So let's take Inglourious Basterds and let's take The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Both open with a villain meeting a farmer. Both open with the villain being invited into the house. Both open with them sitting down and speaking with the farmer. And both of them have one thing in common that really makes it to where it feels like it's an inspiration, which I believe that's been confirmed that it was an inspiration, but I did not really see much about it. I think it was something in an interview Quentin did. But the opening itself is masterful. It, like I said, mirrors the good and bad, the ugly, and there are several different scenes in the film that mirror films that Quentin Tarantino himself has said that he admires or sort of mirrors in his work, gives homages to. But like I said, Christoph Waltz's acting is fucking phenomenal. Christoph Waltz is what I consider to be one of the most underrated actors. He's getting a lot more recognition now, which is good. But at this time period, I believe Inglourious Basterds was his first major production, or first production in general when it comes to movies. But he plays Colonel Hans Landa, aka the nickname he was given, the Jew Hunter. And throughout the entire film, if you watch the film once, you just see the first layer of it. But if you re-watch it twice or a third time, you start to see each individual layer in every scene. Everything Hans Landa does in the film is intentional, and he uses that to his benefit. And in that same scene, he eventually finds out that they are sheltering a Jewish family and brings his guys in and completely murks them. Brings them in, they shoot through the floorboards, killing all of them. And the film, I don't want to spoil too much because of how good it is, but all of that happens, and throughout the rest of the movie, you can really tell that he's an opportunist. I mean, hell, even towards the end of the movie, when he, makes the deal with Aldo Raine, he's an opportunist, is the best way to put it. As he states, he doesn't want to end the war, but it benefits him and wins in his favor. But, yeah, the film itself it's great. The acting is phenomenal. Brad Pitt as Aldo Raine is really good. One thing that I like is Tarantino likes to put a bunch of details on his characters that are not explained in the film, specifically in his own words, so that it's open for the viewer to create their own story, maybe even their own spin-off in their own mind of what could have caused this. Aldo Raine has a rope burn around his neck. We don't know what it's from. Tarantino knows what it's from, but he doesn't say it specifically because he wants the viewer to come up with our own ideas. And that is what makes Tarantino films, and especially Inglourious Basterds, special. But yeah, at the end of the day, Inglourious Basterds is a really good film. It's really it's kind of a mix of slow and fast-paced. The beginning starts slow, but almost immediately has fast-paced parts, which is good. It really works to keep the viewers in line and wanting to keep watching. But yeah, Inglourious Basterds, I highly recommend it to anybody who likes war films, serious films, action films, comedy films, because it does have a little bit of comedy, whether intentional or not. But even if you don't like any of those, I still recommend giving Inglourious Basterds a watch, because it is honestly, in my genuine opinion, one of the greatest films of the decade. So, Inglourious Basterds, if I were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would genuinely give it a 9.5 out of 10. There are some parts in the film that, as somebody like me who's really into history of worldwide war and, local war and everything, there are some things that are inaccurate, but the thing is, that doesn't matter. It's a movie. Not everything has to be perfect to tell a good story. And Quentin Tarantino, he can tell a damn story. So, yeah, 9.5 out of 10. Really good film. Great acting. And that's about it. That's all I really have to say about Inglourious Basterds. Give it a watch. It's on YouTube, which is really cool that Tarantino has not had it taken down. But, yeah, it's been Terror Haunts, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.